Yeah, because
Why?
we stick with such a strict
Very strict
and
schedule here. So yeah,
we have such a strict what is it that I'm format
yeah,
and a strict
absolutely.
everything we do is just so super
Very
super
strict.
duper
Very
strict. So,
strict.
because that's the only way to be successful in business is to be super strict with yourself, isn't it?
Oh, that's right.
Well, hold yourself accountable, yeah, but yeah, the strict part is, yeah, never changing, being inflexible. Yeah, we know where that gets us, right?
Yeah.
So,
All right,
Doug, I'll do the introductions to JC. JC, you and I have known each other, what, 2013, 12, sometime along in there, probably.
It's been a while, yes.
I think we met Charlotte or some, one of the conventions back in that area, and you were the owner of Cape Fear Soft Wash.
Cape Fear Pro Wash.
Pro Wash.
Right. And they're also intermingled at yeah.
and started. When did you start doing Christmas lights?
2016.
2006. So you've been doing the lights for a while. That I didn't realize you were doing that long. And so with you're also retired Navy. You were chief
in the Navy, not retired, still in on the way out kind of deal. But yeah, 19 years of Navy.
Nice, and thank you very much.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
That was.
Are you still doing anything with the Navy?
No, I'm transitioning.
I don't know if you were still reserves or whatever.
Yeah, I am technically reserves, but I just a couple things happened a few years ago where I had the opportunity to kind of slowly work my way out of it. The business was doing good. Just got things settled and finalized with the divorce and the kids. And it's not that I was afraid to go overseas. It's just I didn't want to go back overseas and lose the opportunity to spend time with my kids and the business again. So I felt I did enough, served long enough, and like I like to say, once you're no longer having fun doing things, it's time to check out. And
absolutely,
go somewhere else.
100%. So I did not realize that. And now you're also doing some masterminding. You're teaching with Clippa and doing some masterminding with a group in Christmas lights as well. So you're wearing many hats.
I am, and I'm very fortunate that I have an amazing team supporting me back here when I'm gone traveling. And without a doubt, I couldn't be doing the things that I'm able to do today without them. So I'm just so grateful that I have a team that cares about the companies while I'm gone, and they're invested, and just tremendous success with my entire team back here.
Mm-hmm. How many guys do you have running for you now?
If we got to do the math, I've actually been gone for a while, but we hired a few. I want to say there's probably about 15 or 16 that are there right now full time.
And that's just on the wash side, or do they cycle back and forth?
Yeah, so they cycle back and forth. We're getting deep into the landscape lighting, so we're starting up that division year round. And then once we get into the Christmas lights, come let's say September, August, we'll ramp up to about 22, 25.
Awesome.
Very nice. So how many wash trucks you running?
We have 5. I think we have what do we have? 2-man trucks and 2 pickups, single man skids.
Very nice. I'm sitting here looking at the lights. It looks like I had started doing lights in 2015 was my first year doing that. So we got into that at the same time in that. And that was the year that 2015 was the year that spray wash really started blowing up well. We went from, like 600,000 up to about 850 or so. And I couldn't keep up with the lights at that point. The lights, I don't want to say we did it for 3 years, but that was right at the point because I got into the lights saying, well, we are North Florida. We're a little slower in the wintertime. So I'm going to get this for my guys to do. And I'll never forget that first year of doing lights. We never slowed down. And it was literally, okay, you go over here. We're going to put lights on your soft wash truck, and we're going to load the bed down, up under the skid. We're going to put lights. You go and do an install for 3 hours. Then you're going to 123 Main Street, and then you're going to wash. And then I need you to go back and check the bulbs that are burnt out over on 125 6th Avenue. And it was crazy. And it was that way for 2 to 3 trucks all winter long. next year, and I was like, okay, this is just a fluke. Next year, same thing. By the third year, we were just too freaking stressed out to handle it anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you really have to have a dedicated team invested into doing the lights full time. I mean, we shut down everything completely come November, and we'll keep one wash truck open throughout October. In the past, we've subbed out our work. We've actually hired other pressure washing companies to work for us as a W-2 employee that are local and that we trust. And we just get so busy with lights that it's hard to justify putting a truck on the road for $15,000 to $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
When they could be doing $35,000, $4,000 a day in lights.
Right.
So it's just, if you're all in, you got to be all in. It's hard to go back and forth. And then you have those struggles of,
that's actually a good, I'm going to say a little bit of a switch, right? So what is the, just kind of ballparking it, what is the average ticket for a light job?
So it depends on, obviously, the company and where you're at. For ours, it's $2,000 for a residential.
Okay, so that's perfect. So residential average is about a $2,000 ticket. And my reason for going that direction is because this just came to me along that lines of when you start talking to people about, house washing and I can't get that price. People aren't willing to spend money and all that. Now, wait a minute. Christmas lights are something that they have up for a very short period of time. Yes, it's festive, but at the same time, you got the house wash that's going to be clean for, about a year. I mean, if people weren't willing to spend money, they certainly wouldn't spend it on Christmas lights. You see what I mean? Or what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's funny because you would think that because we have somebody spending, we got customers spending $14,000 on a residential job for lights. And actually, they're a great customer. We're actually washing their house tomorrow. But we have the ones that spend $2,000, $3,000 on lights and won't spend the $900 for a house wash. Mm-hmm. So our wash customers are not always our light customers and vice versa. We found, the Christmas light sale is more of an emotional. People don't need to have lights on. They want to have the lights on. So it's for that aspect, it's hard to say that just because they're going to spend $3,000 putting lights up, they're not going to spend $1,200. They're not likely to spend the $1,200 to go wash the house. And it's kind of funny how, they'll do the 3-month deal, but they won't do the year deal to get the house clean all year.
Right. That's surprising to me.
So
I guess it's just everybody, you know your customer, and it's you don't assume. It's bad whenever you make assumptions about what a customer is willing to do and not willing to do.
Oh,
what they're willing to spend and not willing to spend.
Yeah, because I'll never forget. It was 5 years ago, probably. We picked up a house out of town for somebody else. We bought a bunch of their customers, and it was a single wide trailer. $1,200 they put on their lights on a single wide trailer. Absolutely insane. But she loved Christmas more than anything, and that's that mindset you need to get out of your head as you're doing these estimates, whether it's washing or lights, is assuming that the customer can't afford it or won't be able to afford it. Because had I went and sold that job, I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time here. She's not going to spend more than $200. Well, she loved Christmas more than life itself, and she was saving up every single month of the year to do this for herself and for her family. So we got to stop cutting ourselves short with these customers and thinking that we know what they want or don't want.
You mean that, like, getting into our heads and saying something like, boy, these people will never pay $2,000 for a house wash?
Yeah.
So that also makes me think, though, so emotional purchases, or because Christmas lights are about, to me, would be a little bit of an emotional purchase, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Nobody needs lights; they want them.
So is there any way that you can take and, I don't want to use the word twist, but kind of twist a house wash into an emotional purchase for people?
You can once you start talking to the person, but again, like, nobody's calling you for lights up because they have to, because their HOA is telling them to do the lights.
Right.
So the washing, it's more of the aesthetic. You can put the twist on it and have cleanliness and all the sanitary things and things like that. But it's easier to have that emotional connection with a customer for a light job than it is for the wash job.
Yeah, I could see that. I could absolutely see
and emotional is the right word that I'm looking for. So it's an emotional purchase more than anything.
Yeah.
Selling a want versus a need. Simple model. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always wondered. I always thought the perfect ad for a certain demographic in the wash industry, at least, would be go into one of the local magazines that they put into, like the dental offices, the varicose vein clinics, and the plastic surgeon places. Like we have one here, Tallahassee Woman Magazine, and that's literally all the ads are in there: divorce lawyers, plastic surgery, and it's a high style magazine.
Yeah.
And just do a full page ad of like a before and after of a really dirty roof in one of the nicer neighborhoods, and with the tagline of like, "Ew, what are the neighbors saying about your roof?" because then all of a sudden it becomes a
yeah.
Oh my God,
it's my
like,
house. Are they talking about my house?
Oh my God, the neighbors think I'm dirty, and it's kind of like, a bin cleaner where I know a couple of bin cleaners that'll go out to some of the nicer neighborhoods and wash some people's cans for free just to be able to be seen in that neighborhood.
Exactly.
Because they know that if the Smiths are getting their trash can cleans, then
I got to get
my trash can clean.
Absolutely.
I'm better than they are.
Yeah.
And I find,
keeping up with the job.
Selling a wash job or anything in the washing industry is more of an educational conversation with the homeowner, because they don't know they need to get the roof clean. They don't know they need to get their dryer vent clean. They don't know what's on their house and what's causing, especially if they're coming from up north and come to these southern climates where they've never had these services, or new homeowners. I can't tell how many times I've had the homeowners, and I know you guys have seen this. Like, I didn't know you can clean my roof. Like, I thought I had to go replace it. It's only 8 years old. So on the sale of the washing, we're educating the homeowner. And I hate saying this, but I always tell my guys, like, just dumb it down for them and bring it down to, like, let's just pretend they don't know anything and they've never had this done before, because you never know what they've had done or don't know, or what the previous company told them.
I have a great story for that. And it's something that, I've probably told it 1,000 times, but for me, I believe in the ABEs of sales, always be engaging, right? And so if I'm washing someplace, I'll always engage anybody that's walking by or driving up next door, or, whatever the case may be. And in this one particular house, the guy pulled up, the neighbor pulls up while I'm out doing the fence. And so I engage with him and, hey, hope we're not intruding, and, blah, 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 blah. And, ask him if he needed an estimate. And I asked him specifically about his roof. And he's like, no, I don't need the roof, but I do want to get a price on the front stucco. So I walked with him, and, as I walked around, I looked up at the roof and I said, you sure you don't want to get a price on the roof? And you see that vent right there and how it's clean underneath? And he's no. Great. Got his information and all that. So went back about my job. Well, right around lunchtime, the wife pulls up in her car. So I engage with her and I just say, oh yeah, just so you know, I'll probably be walking around your house here in a little bit, getting, estimate for the stucco up front. By the way, would you be interested in getting your roof clean? My roof? And she looks up at, what's wrong with my roof? There's no. I don't even want to, nothing. I talked about the vent and the clean. No, I was totally she just blew me off. Just the price on the stucco is great. So get done with the job, go home. And that evening I get a frantic phone call from the husband. Dude, when can you get out here and clean this roof, man? My wife is all over me about this roof. What? They didn't know. And so once you, and they didn't even recognize or realize until I showed them. And it's not only that, it's pointing out, hey, here's that clean spot, right? And as soon as I showed them, boom, that was it. And totally blew me off on the site itself. Yeah, but you educate the customer, it's almost always a win.
That vent is the moneymaker. If you can get them out back and show them that vent, and know where it is before you try talking to them too, instead of walking around like, I think you have a vent here somewhere, but you can find that and show them and step them back.
Yeah, hope that thing's on the north side, baby. You got it. You got it done. You got it done if that's the case.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times these guys are out there and they don't want to spend the time to invest in the estimate with the customer and show them these things. They'd rather just hand them the estimate for the $249 for the house wash and call it a day, and not try and build the packages up. And build
I thought we just went and did Google estimates anyway and never saw the place at JC. Isn't that how you make the good money on it?
Don't give
So do you actually go out to give the estimates?
every single one. Yes.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if it's, I think I'd say we do maybe 5 to 10%. We'll do virtual if it's far and it's just outside of our normal area or something like that. But I got 2 sales guys, Brad and Patrick, phenomenal. They're out there every single day, every single job, doing estimates in person with the homeowner.
Yep.
Well, the
way to do it.
So I definitely was starting to see a little bit of a trend where I had more people that actually wanted the online. They really didn't want you to come out. And so that was a little bit difficult too. But I think if you talk to them enough, you get to go out. I mean, close ratios are so much better in person anyhow.
Yeah.
And the upsells and, and everything,
And I get that because, depending on the disc model, I used to be a high D and it's just like, give me the price, dude. Like, I don't want to spend 30 minutes talking to you. Like, I know what I want. Just give me the price and get it done. So it obviously absolutely depends on the homeowner. And we like that instant gratification or instant service model where you're just going to give it to me. I don't have to invest time to figure all this out. Just show me what you're going to do and let's figure this out. But then you have the ones that really just want to go through everything and they want to see what you're going to do and they want the explanation and they want to walk around with you and point every detail out to you. And those are the ones you're usually going to close because you're going to address all those concerns.
Well, you're engaged with them. I mean, those are the ones that, somebody just said, always be engaging. And
always be engaging.
Somebody made the Tommy Mello quote, never sell, just explain the options. Those are the people that you're engaged with and the ones, I mean, that's how we always, upsold or oversold the guys doing the Google quotes because they'd say, well, 2 other companies have just given me a price over the phone. And ma'am, I'm sorry, but I'm sitting here looking at this Google photograph. I don't know what color your photo is. It says, this Google Street image was updated 2009. I don't know if you've changed your landscaping package. I don't know what condition, if we have wood rot. I don't know if you have roses or Nandina. And they're like, wow, nobody, I mean, not all the customers, but the one that went, wow, nobody else has explained that to me. Well, I knew they were going to be an amazing customer and they were going to be a high ticket customer.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were already queued up for the sale.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to start looking at Christmas lights when you got into it?
Hey, stranger, Ryan Fox. Look at there.
Speaking of Ryan Fox, so coincidence and funny timing, 2016, I was at the Charlotte pressure washing trade show. We won't mention anything other than it was the year of the air horn. So on top of hearing air horns going off left and right, I felt like I was at a supermarket special. I saw a large sign that said, "We hang Christmas lights," and there was a giant wreath lit up with Christmas lights. And I was a Christmas geek growing up all throughout my childhood. And as I became a parent, I was Clark Griswold. Every December 26th, I was going to the big box stores and buying all the lights on discount. I just love Christmas lights. I love what it does for people. I love what it does for me. I love what it does for the kids and things like that. So I went over and I talked to Ryan and Brett over there, and they're like, "Yeah, we hang Christmas lights and make money doing it." And I was like, "There's just no way somebody's gonna pay me to do what I want to do or what I love doing." Like everybody,
such a good ticket.
What's that?
Especially such a good ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like everybody loves hanging Christmas lights, don't they? And they told me no, I was wrong. They made decent money doing it, really good money actually. So I went home with my dad, and we put up our lights on my house in a very short time with no training. And I just stepped back and I was like, this is it. Like, I love Christmas. Now I can actually put Christmas into our business as a business model. So 2016, we started out real small. There wasn't all these Facebook social media groups and the trainings out there. So it was kind of the school of hard knocks like it was for the washing back in the day.
Yeah.
And we just took it slow. I don't like rushing into things. If I'm not good at it or if I can't perfect it, I don't want to do it. And especially if I can't have fun doing it, it's not even an option. That's not going to happen. But I had fun. And we did 4 houses that year. Then we did 25. I was still full-time Navy, part-time washing, part-time doing lights. And that was back when we were doing, working until 10 o'clock at night after work, hanging Christmas lights. And it just slowly progressed and progressed. And then I joined Conquer in 2019. And then that's when they really just slapped me in the face and said, "Hey, wake up. You have a business model here. Let's act like a business owner now." And that's really where it just took off. 2019, I think when I joined, we just did like $350,000 in washing and lights and scaled it all the way to 1.8 last year.
Nice.
With 22, up to 22 guys during the peak of the light season.
Excellent.
And it's just fun. I just love doing it. There's a whole backstory to why I like doing the lights. I grew up not so fortunate, a little bit poor, and we'd drive around looking at Christmas lights when we were kids. And that was the highlight of my holidays, was getting in the car with my sister and parents and just looking at lights. It was keeping up with the Jones, the Clark Griswolds everywhere. And it was happiness. It brought happiness to me seeing these lights. So now when I hang the lights for the customers, I don't do it just for the customer. I do it for the family that can't afford the lights. I do it for the person who had a really bad day, just driving home at 5 o'clock. It's pitch dark, and they happen to look up and see lights on the house that we did, and they smile for a split second. I'll never know that, but in my head,
they are. They are. They're coming in going, "Wow, that's nice."
Yeah.
And you see people driving around the neighborhoods and driving around that particular house that you put the lights on and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's funny because I know for Ray and I both, and you said something earlier, I think it was pre-show, people have a hard time understanding that it's actually very true for us to say that we do it to help people. It's not the money that we make, but we actually do it just to help people sometimes. And that's something you said pre-show as well. And it seems to resonate for a lot of guys that do this sort of thing and that help teach and grow and all that kind of stuff when they're into it for a passion versus just money.
Right.
And it seems to work out the best that way.
Yeah. If if everything's strictly driven by money, you don't have that passion more than likely. And you're just so focused on one thing. But once you start having fun doing things, the whole dynamic of everything changes. Your team changes, the culture changes, the company values, core values and everything, they start aligning with each other. And I hate calling employees. I like calling the team. I like the family. Michael Gregory calls it the tribe. And you got to have the buy-in for the team. So if you're not having fun doing something, why are you doing it? And I tell the guys, like, just because it's a job doesn't mean we can't have fun doing it. As long as the mission's getting complete and everybody's safe doing it, coming home, that's what I care about.
Exactly.
You just mentioned, I realized that one in Charlotte, that was the show where my dad died.
Yes.
And,
yes.
I got up there and I did my speech, and Tim drove me to the airport, and because I got the call that morning at 6 a.m. that my parents' housekeeper was crying and saying, your dad, we woke up and your dad passed away, last night, and God bless him for passing away that peacefully. But yeah, I'll never forget besides the air horns, the Charlotte show there.
We had riots, we had air horns, we had lockdowns, you name it.
Yeah. Oh man, that was and the one, we've had a couple of riots in the Charlotte shows, because that was the one where the homeboy got killed, and then we had one Charlotte show that was pretty mellow, if I remember. That was nice. That one with the air horns were just so horrible because it was in that convention center. Remember that? And it was
the class.
Oh, just the and everybody's class was going in on everybody else's because it was like curtains and not classrooms. It was kind of crazy.
But even with all the bad that happened at that show, so much good came out of it. That's why these shows are so important.
Well, it is. I mean, we've made long-lasting, friendships. I mean, we've made relationships. We've met people that will stick with us for the rest of our lives, at some of these trade groups. And if you're a lone wolf out there, man, best thing I can tell you is get to the Huge this year. You will meet somebody that will absolutely change your life.
As long as you apply yourself to meet somebody as well.
Right.
True. I mean, you can't just show up there. You have to interact. You have to go up and say, hey, aren't you JC? Aren't you Ray? You got to go up and just introduce yourself. You got to go up and be engaging. And then, you have to go in there with the decision of I'm going to take a few takeaways and I'm going to put them into action, because if you don't, how does that go? Without actions, it's just words.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm a very introverted guy, despite what everybody might think. Like, when I go to these shows, I kind of stick with my tribe, and then I'll have to go in a corner and or to my room and just breathe. But I've met so many great friends that I've communicated with for the last, even since 2009, the first pressure washing trade show I ever went to in Myrtle Beach. And with, Guy Blackman was there, and God, I can't think of his name right now, but just so many guys from 2009 that I still talk to. And don't be afraid to talk to him. Just because you're like, oh, that's JC and I can't go talk to him because he's doing all this. No, you got to go up and talk to him.
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you. Like everybody wants to talk to you because I didn't just start out doing 1.8 yesterday.
No.
I was in the same shoes as everybody. I had the Fat Boy Bandit from Bob in 2009.
Yep.
When I started with. And it wasn't even a pressure washer. Yeah. Battery operated pressure washing, 12-volt pump is how I started. I'm very humble from growing up to a 4-gallon to a 5.5 and then 8s and 10s. So I was there. I was there where you were buying the cheap stuff off of Facebook and Craigslist. Yeah. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
One of the things that I've noticed at just about all and not just in the pressure washing arena, but if I go someplace and I see somebody that's like a superstar, a super idol, somebody that I really, want to meet and, I'll stop short of saying idolize. But one thing I've noticed about every single one of them, and that is they breathe, right? They have a pulse. They're human, just like me, right? So when you go to a convention and you say, oh my God, there's, whoever it is, right? They're just a human,
if you follow them in the bathroom, you realize it smells when they fart, I mean, yeah. I want to, so Ryan being on here, one of the things that I'll never forget about Ryan and Brett, and this is, I don't know if they still have Outback or not, if they're just totally Clippa and washing and lights now, but everybody was talking about the DoubleTree Orlando and how dirty it was. And I'll never forget that Ryan and Brett were the only two there that actually had the cojones to go to the manager and talk about washing that hotel and got a bid request for washing that. And they're like, Ray, how the heck would you wash this thing? And it was kind of funny. Ironically, I now know how to wash that thing because last year I went and assisted a company with washing it with some equipment needs that they had. So I was on site for that. Got to be careful how I stage that statement. I was there with equipment for them and education on it. So it was really quite interesting. But how many times people talk about it? And here's two guys that are not even that long in the washing industry, and they're like, no, we're going to go out here and talk to this manager and tell him his 17-story building is nasty and we'll figure out how to clean the thing,
before you clean your first let's say 3-story building. How many 3-story buildings had you cleaned? It's the same. The answer is the same thing for everybody. I distinctly remember, you remember the old forum that we were part of, and somebody was asking about, I think it was a 13-story hotel, and how do you clean that 13-story hotel? And I was giving advice on what I felt they should do. And so the comment came back to me and said, well, how many 13-story hotels have you cleaned that drain into the lake or whatever? And I'm like, none. But what does that have to do with anything? Is my advice good or is it bad? If it's bad, call it out as bad. If it's good, then what's the issue? Because at some point, somebody has to take initiative and do something to get, because the very first time a 13-story building went up, nobody had ever cleaned one.
That's right.
So there has to be a point where you say, okay, now that being said, I do know that there are guys that overstep their bounds a little bit. They're way out of their league. But at the same time, if you're smart enough, you should be able to figure it out and buy equipment to make it, right, and all that kind of stuff. And then with the invent of Facebook and the different forums and groups, there's such a wealth of knowledge that you can reach out to. And then you can meet them at the conventions and you can, sit there and shake their hands, meet them, and then learn from them. And then if you run into that great big huge job, or you got this great big huge Christmas light project, you can pick up the phone and say, JC, man, I got this huge project. Can you help me out with it?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, that's what that network is all about, because somebody else might have done it. Don't be afraid to lose a little bit of money to get the job and have somebody else come out there. See Jason Ayers, I think that's how you say his name. Like, he's always out there helping other companies and traveling. Doug, Doug, I'm sure you've done it too. And Ray, It's, I'd rather make a little bit of money and learn how to do it, so I'm more successful than say like, oh, I can't do this. I don't have the experience.
Absolutely. I mean, this, Hell, look at the guys with paver sealing. I mean, people don't realize this, but you can get Mark Tuliano to come to one of your jobs for not a lot of money, relatively speaking, and personally guide you on laying and cleaning, sanding, and sealing pavers for a lot less than you're charging for it. And you've got one of the undisputed industry experts sitting there running your crew and telling you what to do.
Yeah. Not only that, you can actually reach out to guys that you see doing stuff. Like, as an example, we don't do cedar roofs here in my area. And so if somebody pops up, and I'll absolutely bid a cedar roof, even though I've never done one, because I know one thing. I can pick up the phone and say something like Jim Bob. Jim's a good example. I can say, hey, Jim, you going to come down here and do this roof for me? Oh, sure. I'm going to get a price from Jim to go and, for him to come down, clean the roof for me. And I'm going to learn along the process. And, it's all going to work.
Look at Jeff Robertson. How many places have Jeff Robertson,
traveled? Yeah, every state.
Jeff has come to Louisiana several times and met up with Dave Muzat.
Yeah, exactly.
And going back to the conventions and introducing yourself and networking, one way to break the ice, if you're uncomfortable meeting somebody, reach out to them prior to going to the show and say, hey, I'm going to be at the Huge. I really look forward to seeing you out there. I'd like to, just be able to network with you or talk to you about a couple of things. At least now you have the icebreaker broken and you feel a little bit more comfortable being on top of the person.
Yeah. And at least that way, that person knows that you're coming and to maybe even be on the lookout for you. And if you're that person that's especially super shy, right? Brenda Farley, I'm going to throw Brenda under the bus. Love Brenda Farley. So the first convention with Brenda, and I've always felt bad about this. I saw her sitting off on, I think it was at breakfast, and she was sitting over by herself. And I wanted to go say something. I had too much going on, but if she would have reached out to me ahead of time and said, hey, I'm shy, can you? Because I also didn't want to intrude upon her. You see what I mean? So if you reach out ahead of time, then we can approach you and say, hey, because I guarantee JC, Ray, myself, we're all really shy. We probably won't approach you, but you've got to, we know how to break out of our shell, even though we might not necessarily want to sometimes. We know that's what it takes to get us to the finish line.
Absolutely. Nope. And again, the connections I've made over the years of these shows, and I've gotten a lot better over the last 6 months to a year with being intentional while I'm out there and reaching out to everybody. I've done so many shows just in the last 3 months, and just sometimes you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I really do. It was really hard too. Actually, I went to a show. There's a mastermind group in Moab, and I didn't know anybody there at all, other than Mike, the guy who put it on. So that was really hard for me to show up at 10 o'clock at night to a room full of 25 other business owners and not know anybody and step out of my comfort zone to be able to network with them. And that event changed so much of what I've been doing over the last 2 or 3 months. Well, it was 2 months ago when I was there. And that, had I not gone there and stepped out of my comfort zone, I probably still would be trying to do things that I'm doing today. So it's just important to get out to those ones, not just the big ones like the Huge, which I love, but the smaller ones as well.
Oh, yeah. There are lots of events out there that I think people don't even realize. Some of them are super small events. Some of them are large events like the Huge. And just I know a lot of guys that have started their own events and their own Facebook groups that are just centered and focused for the local guys, right? And so then that way they can communicate and they can, swap jobs with each other. And because at the end of the day, Florida is a lot like Louisiana. So if Ray has a problem, he can call me, and the odds are I'm going to be able to help him a little bit because our markets are pretty much the same as far as algae growth. But there are differences, right? So it's nice to have somebody local that you can talk to that says, oh, yeah, I dealt with that at 123 any street, and it's just right down the street from what you're doing. This is how I handled it, and it came out great. So being able to network on a local, especially a hyper local, it's invaluable.
Yeah,
I guess Lou doesn't like my jacket. So
I know. I was about to say I just got this one in the mail today when I came home. I just got back from. Actually, I was in New Orleans, Doug, for the weekend. got in the mail, and I was like, what is this? I don't even remember ordering it, but it was perfect timing for you guys.
Yeah.
So thanks, Lou. And I tell you, I'm really surprised, maybe disappointed too, that with how much knowledge is out there in these forums and how much we educate everybody and talk to everybody about talking to your local washing companies in your area. I don't like using the word competition because they're not, that these guys are still out there fearful and just look at them as like the enemy when you should be approaching them as a friend or trying to help them. And I haven't done it so much often lately because I'm really not out as much as I used to. But when I saw a new guy in the area, I'd call him up right away and say, hey, I'm JC, Cape Fear Pro Wash. If there's anything you ever need, come to my office. You know, we always have a bunch of inventory, supplies, bleach, whatever you need. Love to talk shop with you because you're building them up. You know, they're going to feel good about themselves now. And I'm not saying we need to like focus on matching prices, but at least helping educate them so they're not going out there and being the $99 guy. You could show them what's possible and just help build up the industry locally instead of just saying like, no, I don't want to talk to them.
100%. I can't tell you how many guys, you know, because for the longest time, I was the only one in Tallahassee that had an actual shop. You know, most guys were working outside of their house. And I can't tell you how many times, you know, guys came by and they'd need a fitting or, you know, a 12-volt pump, and you could see them looking around. And it's like, no, look over here. And then, you know, in retrospect, I've been told, thank you for showing me around. I never realized this could be more than a me out of my garage kind of thing, or me working out of my, you know, my house, you know, kind of gig. And it really was a big inspiration for, you know, catapulting my business to a 2 or a 3 truck, you know, gig.
You know, and just like we said pre-show, maybe not exact words anyhow, but you know, one of the things that, you know, even you said, JC, and it's something that we hear all the time, are guys that, you know, they always have the same things to say. They want to grow their business, but, you know, they can't find the right employees. They can't this, they can't that, they can't that, but they micromanage, or they're in their own way of growth. And if you don't want to grow, that's great. You don't want to grow. But if you do want to grow and you can't, you really got to step back and look at why. And, you know, a lot of times it's you.
It's a hard pill for a lot of these guys to swallow. And they got a lot of turnover. They're not growing. They're still, I mean, I hate seeing it. I truly do. I hate seeing the guys that I've known for 10 years or less, or even longer, that are still on the truck working every single day.
And they want to get off.
It's the same story though. Every time I see them, I can't hire good people. I don't trust anybody. You know, it's just always an excuse instead of owning up to it, like you said, and just like, well, maybe it is me. Maybe I don't know how to hire somebody properly. Maybe I'm the problem. And it's just it's hard for somebody to take advice from somebody because they don't want to hear that. And I think that's the best thing I can say or offer to somebody is take the constructive criticism. Like when I do something, or anytime I speak now, the first thing I say to everybody is like, give me the bad. I don't want the good. Like, just give me the bad. And I want to know what I could do better. And as business owners, we should constantly be striving for perfection and figuring out what we're doing wrong, because we all think we're perfect. We all think we're doing everything right because everything looks good. I can't tell you how many times I've had it wrong in my own company, even recently, where I was like, blinders on, I'm like, all right, everybody's happy, everybody's good. And then we do a survey. I'm like, whoa, stop. Like, all right, I was just maybe just not looking the right direction. So you need to take ownership of yourself and your company and be open to the criticism, the bad things. Yeah. And this way you can fix it and improve on it.
You know, I had a guy call me a couple of years ago, and I remember telling him he had just fired another guy, and he was like, yeah, and I just can't find these guys worth the damn. And, you know, here we are at the end of the day today, and he takes off his stinking ass work boots in the truck with me. And I don't want to smell your blankety blank feet. And I told him whenever we got back to the office, he can take himself and his stinking ass feet down the road. I didn't want him back. And, well, what do you think about that? And finally, I was like, I think you need to hire 2 people. And he's like, well, what do you mean hire 2 people? I said, and send them out together said, because nobody will ever make you happy. I mean, from the hour that you've sit here like fussing and complaining about all the little things that your guys do and why you let them go, I think you're being unreasonable, and nobody is ever going to come up to your expectations. So you either need to get off the truck and hire 2 people to do your job, or you need to continue to plan on working alone, because firing somebody because they work their butt off all day and they take their wet shoes off that are wet because they've been working with you and because you probably didn't buy them good, waterproof boots, is a little bit petty, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Part of what you need to do too, I think, is you need to be able to give them the ability to have ownership in their outcome, in their future, in their job, and whatever it is that they do, because giving them that ability, I think we talked about this here in the last couple of weeks where, for me, I would have people say, well, we'll do it. We'll hire your company. We want you to come out and do the job. And I'll be like, why? I guarantee my guys are doing a way better job than I am.
I'm the worst one to wash your house. I'm fat and old, and
yeah. So you absolutely want them, not me, to do that. And so giving them the ability to take ownership, and you've got to give them that chance, and you've got to give them the tools and the, like Ray said, give them the boots that they need. And so if you're complaining about those kinds of things, you're complaining about the completely wrong aspects of your employees.
Yeah.
Of your team.
Yeah. One thing my best piece of advice for people trying to hire right now is, and I've learned this over the years, is we're always looking for that perfect employee. And it all starts with when you get on paper, and we're like nitpicking everything. Like, they don't have leadership skills. They don't have managerial skills. And the only thing I look at now is job consistency. If they can hold a job for at least a year, and it's not every year they're switching jobs, they're coming in. Like, I don't care. We can figure everything else out, because when it comes to putting stuff on paper, I'm like a rock, and it's not going to look pretty. So if anybody was ever to judge me on my resume because I had to write down what I'm good at, they're probably like, this guy's an idiot. Like, he can't run $1 million company, let alone work for my company.
Right.
So stop trying to find perfect on paper. Get them in there. And then it's up for you to figure out if they're a good person. Do they feel like they can live up to your core values? Get your core values if you don't have them. That's super important. We just learned that recently. And then you could teach them. People are teachable. And if we sit here and expect them to be great pressure washers on paper, and you're just looking for the next JC to come work for you, you're not going to find them.
Yeah.
And
I never hired a superstar. I never. ever I made some superstars, but I never hired somebody going, oh, that absolutely knew everything. In fact, usually that was like the kiss of death for you. Whenever somebody said, boss, I got this. I've pressure washed my whole life. Yeah. No, that's not how we
I don't want your bad habits.
Yeah. That's not the way.
And something else I was telling someone recently is that, at this day and age, you almost are compelled to go out and snipe another worker. And I don't mean steal them from another pressure washing company, but whenever you have somebody at an oil change store, we call them super lubes down here, but even though they're not Take Fives, that has a good personality and seems to go the extra mile. Boy, you need to slide him your card and say, look, here we pay, my lead technician last year made $85,000. Guarantee you those guys aren't making that kind of, money there. And we start our base technicians at $18 an hour, fast pace. I know you're on your feet here a lot all day. You're the kind of guy that we're looking for, because a lot of us are now finally getting in these resumes, since they're finally ending some of the unemployment benefits through COVID that's lasted now for 2 to 3 years. Do you really want to hire the person that has sat on his duff for the last 3 years and sucked off the government teat?
Not even an option. I remember when they did stop a lot of the benefits here. If I saw that and they were maxing it out as long as I could, it wasn't even an option for us.
Right.
Yeah. I need somebody who's engaged, who has good work ethic, and I'll teach them. We'll teach them the leadership skills. We'll teach them how to manage the team, the crews, and things like that. We'll teach them how to be safe on roofs. But I'm not going to find that on paper, because they're not doing that at their job every single day. And like you said, Ray, if you're not out there talking to other people, and maybe they're not ready today while you're approaching them and talking about your business, but maybe something changes next week, next month. And they can remember like, hey, God, I remember that pressure washer guy, and I've got his card in my truck. Let me go reach out to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's two things about that. One is that when you I had two good points and they just went.
All
I hate that. I had them set there and I should have wrote them down, but then they just like, that happens too.
Welcome to my world. Glad you caught up, Doug.
Yeah. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed that.
But yeah, if your turnover is more than a Walmart with your employees going in and out, it's not the people you're hiring, or maybe it is how you are hiring. So you need to step back and look at those things. And again, reach out to another company locally. Call me. I'm sure they can call you guys and ask like, what could I be doing better to get, increase my retention with my employees? Because if you don't have good company culture, they're not going to want to stay with you. 5 years ago, it was all about the dollar and how much money they can make. Now it's about culture and how much you care about them.
Well, and that's where I had the 2 points. I wrote them down just so you guys know. So first of all, you can't steal, and you can't steal an employee. That's my viewpoint, right? If you go in and you give somebody a card and they come to work for you, you didn't steal that employee. That person lost that employee, and that employee could have been lost for many different reasons. They could have been lost because they saw bigger dollars and that's what they wanted, or you just didn't have the company culture. They didn't see any growth potential. They didn't see any fire from you that said they do a great job. And, because today is more about feelings a lot of times, right? And they do want a little bit more praise. And so if you're not giving that to them, and that's why I say to me, you cannot steal an employee, right? They have to go willingly to somebody else because there's something at your place that they're not liking, whether it's money or it's culture. And you have to figure out within your company which one is more important. And, can I marry the two of them together to where, I know you're offering me an extra $400 an hour, but I really like working with JC, and I'm going to stay here because I like this family atmosphere that I got going on here, because it's not always about money. And the second thing is, and you brought up something that's really important, JC, and that is when you look at somebody's resume and they say, yeah, I'm 23 years old. I've had 30 different jobs, man. I can do anything. You're like 30 jobs and you're 23 years old. Okay. And you look at their resume and it's 4 months here and 6 months there and I don't care if you learn to soft wash already, how to do it. I don't care, because I already know that you're going to be with my company for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months.
You're a job hopper.
Yeah. I don't want a job hopper, because that's a waste of my time, my money, and my effort. And I'm not, when you get so desperate that you're hiring them, you need to really look at what you're doing, because all you're doing is hurting your own business, wasting time, money, and effort on that job hopper.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Not that somebody doesn't deserve a chance, but they got to prove that they're ready for a chance.
Ray, I see you loading ammo over there. Are you going deer hunting after this, or
I'm just sitting here looking at my desk, and I got a 223. Is it a 5.56 or a 223 mag? And the iron. So let me tell you my story on this real quick. I've got a from Spray Wash. I had Tanya had bought me an American flag wooden with the Q-chip. You wave your wallet in front of it and pops up, a hidden gun safe on there. Well, if anybody ever has one of those and you start hearing a beep, beep, beep every now and then, that means replace the battery. So, and if you don't replace the battery, you
can't get in.
You can't get into the damn thing anymore unless you and I had to go and take the back of it off the other day. And I finally, and there was like a couple of magazines in there, because we would keep a 223 in the office. And then there's a couple of Glock magazines and a pistol in the thing that I haven't, seen in like a year and a half, because they've been locked in my flags.
I love it. I love it. So when your guns are talking to you, listen, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's funny.
But that one I lost it because it was I had a 300 blackout, but it only had the 8-inch barrel on there, and apparently somebody stole that one, so don't know what happened.
Also, a boating accident.
Boating accident, horrible boating accident.
Yeah. No, I see. I remember that's the one where you were really drunk and you dropped it overboard when we were in the ocean. I remember that. Yeah,
you got a witness. That's what matters.
Yeah. That thing. I mean, it was crystal blue waters, and I watched it sink.
About 120 foot down. Have y'all ever seen that meme that had the guy in the, had the ATF agent talking to a guy, and he was like, "Oh, let me guess, it fell overboard." And the guy's like, "No, officer, you won't believe this." And he's showing him his phone, and it was literally like a picture of a snake with an outline of an AR inside the snake.
So for the guys out there that are watching, I'm sure you guys have a couple thousand viewers right now because you guys are the best show on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. But don't be afraid to reach out.
Thank you.
And talk to other wash companies, whoever it is on there. I mean, if somebody's going to tell you no, like don't talk to me, then there's nobody you want to associate and just step yourself away from them. But reach out to me, reach out to these guys out there. We'd love to help you. And the biggest thing though is don't ask for help and then just not do anything we tell you, because that's just the worst. And then nobody wants to help you, because I've seen it too often. Like, "Oh, how'd you do this?" And I tell them exactly how I did it, showed them, gave them whatever they want, job ads, and they don't do it. It's like, why'd you waste my time and your time?
Yep.
Asking all this information, and it's just, I don't know.
But the advantage that you get over the years, and I'm sure you're there, JC, is that sometimes you get that phone call and you can tell that person is into it for one thing and one thing only. And they're not valuing your time. They're not valuing their own time. They're out there to take advantage or to whatever. And those guys typically get, 5 to 7 minutes of my time, because I can tell generally right away or fairly quickly that's what they're all about. There is a sincerity about somebody that calls you and sincerely is looking for help. And then there are those guys that you can also tell they really want help, but they're not willing to listen. And so there's those basically 3 different types. And, it's when you get to those ones that they sincerely want help and they sincerely listen and they'll implement and they'll do something, then those are the guys that make all the other ones worth it.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, there's 2 guys in last week that reached out and talked to me, and I mean, I gave them everything. I gave job ads out. I gave as much information as I could to get them on the right track, and I'm confident that they want to do it, and that's why I want to help them sincerely. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's some guys that just want to just run their mouths and talk and just go back to the 9 to 5 of working on the truck all day and doing everything at night. And
they're assholes. That's like Michael said, they're assholes. I mean,
some of those guys, they honestly, they want to do it, but they can't let go.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You have to get to that point where you can finally let go. And watching your truck roll out that first time without you on it is difficult to do, but you kind of got to get to that point. And there are ways to take baby steps to get there. But at some point, if you truly want to grow, you're going to have to let go.
Yep.
And you're going to probably have to spend a little money. You're going to have to get compliant. You're going to have to realize that 4,200 PSI is not a normal pressure for a machine. You're going to stop, describing, "Oh, I got a 4,200 PSI machine." No, you don't. No, you don't. I know the box says that, but you don't. And it's going to take, letting go a little bit on there, and that's kind of what it takes. And it also takes a system, but I'll tell you what, and JC, you and I have seen it. Doug, you and I have seen it. It is easier nowadays to scale if you're in if you're in a market that will accept this. You can scale from 0 to $500,000-$600,000 in 2 years, really, with not a lot of problems.
It's not that hard to do.
And you can be to 0 to $1 million within 3 years. And we've seen it done before with people, you know.
And not only that, you can also do it in the saturated market, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I've told this story a million times as well. But when I went over to watch Ray, I don't even know how many years ago, and I remember we left out, and I mean, passed up a washer going one direction, pulled up to the gas station. There's 2 washers there. Pulled up to get bleach, and there's 3 washers there. I mean, they were freaking everywhere, and I'm like, holy crap, man, he's got a lot of competition. But he wasn't even looking over his shoulder. Oh yeah, that's so and so, that's so and so, that's so and so. No worries and no cares, right? Because you can't focus on them. You have to focus on you. And not only that, but with all that competition, Ray still had the biggest and growing to be the best in the Tallahassee market, which the last I counted had like 3 people in the whole county.
All about mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Wesley Bloom down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's 18 years old. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if he's 18, but
I don't know if he's actually hit puberty yet or not. I mean,
but that guy is inspiration. Like, he's in the Atlanta
absolutely.
market, which is a big hot market, and he's doing well north of 7 figures now.
Yeah.
And just built an incredible team.
He did it like while he was still in middle school.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he can drive this year. I mean, Wesley's awesome. Wesley's just an inspiration to guys,
Yeah. And that's just
seriously. What's he been at 4 years now at this point? Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And he just keeps growing. He even started lights last year and wasted no time and hit the ground running with that. So it's people like Wesley and these other guys out there, you just need to follow and just stop saying I can't do it because.
Right.
No, I will do it because, or I can do it.
Not only that, but I can be better than they are. Even if you never reach that point, you have to have goals and you strive to get to a certain point and to be that, you always focus on somebody, something bigger and better. I don't want to say focus on them because, that's just like, what is it? Michael Phelps, and he's the number 1, the guy in number 2, he's never going to beat Michael Phelps because he's trying to catch up to him all the time. But your goal is to try to beat that person. Right.
Yeah.
And to cheer them on along the way. And then they cheer you on along the way, and you guys help grow each other, and you can lean on each other on occasion. I mean, it's just, it's to me, it seems like we're a broken record sometimes, but it's a record that plays very, very well, and it works.
Yes.
I mean, I see it. I see it so awesome here, just like played out in my store. I literally watch, the biggest companies in Tallahassee now gather here, and the guys, the classy guys are so willing to help each other and learn from each other. I mean, I saw a state bid not too long ago, and it was a large multi-$100,000 multi-year state bid, and two guys that are both friends, that are both customers, literally rode down together to the state bid that was 5 hours away. So, so they could talk along the way down, going down there. They've got competing companies. They bid against each other all the time. They were even bidding on this state project all the time. Hell, usually both of them watch this thing. I think now with the time change, stuff's gotten a little bit weird, but they're awesome. They're friends. They're buddies. And there's nothing wrong with doing that with your competition,
No, I got a really good friend here locally, Jonathan, and same thing. We bid together on a local job for a community college, and we'll talk all the time. He's probably one of my best friends in the washing industry, and it's never like, hey, this is my secret. I'm not telling you things. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing, or
right.
Hey, I just found this product here, or we can get this stuff cheaper here. Like, I want to help him. I want to build him up. I want him to be successful with us.
Mm-hmm.
I just reached out to Wes, by the way, because I think he'd be great to have on the show.
Absolutely. He's incredible.
He is.
I'm excited to hear him speak again at the Huge. I heard him at PWMC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we need too. I mean, sometimes we look at some of us old codgers and it's just like, not willing to change our ways or change our stripes or whatever the case may be. And if it works for you, that's great. But you got to remember that times are a changing, and things do change, and there are advancements in the industry. Just look at groundbreaking, earth shattering, however I say that, the invention of the proportioner by Tim Hazelton. I mean, that just rocked the whole, world of the soft washing, pressure washing community, and has absolutely changed lives. So you have to be willing to accept that there are changes in the industry and things can happen, and there are advancements that happen. Agent Halt, just different things that have happened to make it a bigger, better industry, and things that we may not have looked at just because we're old codgers doesn't mean that we're doing the right thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, response to bid.
Change is inevitable. It's scary, but it's inevitable, and you need to adapt with it, or else you'll be left in the dark or behind, and then you'll sit there wondering, like, well, why are they so successful, and why can't I be like that?
Right.
Because you didn't want to conform to the change, and just
because you didn't adapt.
Yeah.
You didn't assimilate and adapt and keep moving forward.
Because you're still there batch mixing and saying that I've never smoked an outlet in my life. I've never tripped a GFI in my life, Yeah. So
it was funny. Tim was in here. He was looking at some work I was doing, a report, Doug, that I was writing. And I was showing him that. And he's like, I always love people that talk about, I've never tripped a GFI. How do you know? How do you know? And that was one of the things, like when we started using booster pumps, all of a sudden the GFI protection became so freaking important because you were plugging into the customer's house itself. You better have that GFI protected, because
that's when you knew that you were
on your truck. Your butt was going to the neighbors to borrow power, So you got real righteous about, we're going to make sure that this thing, does not cause us any problems here. And let's
a freezer full of deer meat. I know what it cost.
That elk that they went out and hunted. What's your opinion about soft washing roofs using a drone?
I mean, if you need to use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you buy it, if you spend that $40,000 on one, you might as well.
Sean Baker had to rent one for a job he did down in Nashville for the Biltmore, and it worked for him. So it's just, again, it's new, it's scary to people. And I remember when they first came out, we're all like, that's stupid, it's never going to work. Well, guess what? It's still here, still works. And a lot of people are making a lot of money doing it, and just hiring the companies come up there to help them out and get the work done. So if it's a tool and a resource.
Cajun Softwash just bought a drone.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, when they very first started coming out, I remember, so I thought, that could be the future of the industry, doing certain things with that. And I went up and I had a nice long chat with them. They just weren't ready at that time. You know? They made promises, but I'm like, okay, well, does it stand up? Well, does it stand up to bleach? Well, we're not going to guarantee it against that, kind of a thing. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's what we need, and so, now the tunes have changed a little bit, and, there's lots of guys out there running drones, and I see them as a very valuable asset to the right company.
Just another tool.
I told somebody a year ago, they were all and asked my opinion on the drones. Oh, will I get more government jobs if I get a drone? I'm like, no, I don't think you'll get any more of any particular type if you get a drone. But you said, well, I said, the person that's going to make money with a drone isn't going to be necessarily the company that buys the drone to go wash with their own projects with. The company that's going to make money with the drone is going to be the company that offers his services to other wash companies. And the drone operator says, okay, I'll show up with my drone. You've got to provide me this type of pumping system and your crew, and I need this kind of connection on there. And I operate at $1,500 or plus expenses a day or whatever it is. And that's how that's how somebody's really going to make money with just the drones out there and keep their drone going and going and going.
Hey, and real quick, we're right here at an hour, and we do try to be respectful of the time of all of our guests and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to try to cut this one off here right at this hour mark that we have here. So, JC, you got any parting thoughts for us or anything you want to say?
No, I mean, we've talked about a lot tonight. We've talked about things to do for ourselves personally, professionally, work with each other, dig deep and figure out what you're trying to do in life and your business. Don't be afraid to fail, because I failed so many times and I'm still here talking, telling the story, beating the drum every single day. Build your tribe, build your network, get out there, network with everybody in the industry shows, attend the trade shows. Don't just say like, it's not for me. I still go, what am I in? 2009, 14 years later, I still go to learn. And literally, I still go to learn. I send my team out there to learn. So the second you say like the shows are silly, they're old, they're not for me, they're all about vendors and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the second you start failing yourself. So invest in yourself, invest in your team, take the team with you out there. I love seeing when I see other guys have their team with them, because you're empowering them to feel good about themselves and be more confident in the job they're doing, versus going back and saying, hey guys, I learned all these cool tricks, let me show you, and not give them half the information anyway. But I'm excited. I mean, I appreciate you guys having me on here. I love helping the community. If anybody ever has any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me.
Well, JC, and thank you. And what's the best way for people to get you and get some of your coaching and things like that? Where can they reach you at?
Yeah, I mean, you can always find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm still not sure how that works, but I'm easy on Facebook, and then www.beyondthebulbs.com. You can find out more information about our Christmas Light Mastermind group that we just launched about a month ago. So really excited about that, to help invest into the lighting community.
Awesome. Beyondthebulbs.com.
Beyond the Bulb.
I'm gonna put that on here as a banner real quick too. So Doug and I'll hang around for a minute. But JC, thank you so much. That is BEYONDTHEBULB.
He's already got it. He already beat you to it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I appreciate you guys, everybody. Thank you. And Beyond the Bulbs with an S. That might
Bulbs.
Gotta hang more than one bulb, right? Come on now.
Yeah, my customers were cheap.
Yeah.
And I think Beyond the Bulb was taken, so we had to go with S. Thank you guys. I appreciate you so much, and good luck to everybody out there. Feel free to reach out, and don't forget the network at the Huge.
Appreciate you, JC.
Bye, guys.
Hey, thank you, JC. Oh man. All right, Douglas.
Yeah.
That was exciting getting to catch up with him, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's always nice to catch up with people and to talk, old shop, new shop, in between shop, all that kind of fun stuff. It's a great community that we have going on.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked about Tim. So Tim is off of Facebook. If you have Tim's phone number and can text him, you might be able to get a response from him. He doesn't answer phone calls.
Tim really never has answered phone calls.
That's true. But now he is he's off the radar. He's in Destin, Florida. Still has his house in Tallahassee. He ain't
his captain's license.
So what's that?
Getting his captain's license.
Yeah. He just passed his captain's exam for so that's kind of exciting right there. And I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, because he's going to be doing charters.
Yes.
And
yes.
That's when you get to the point where you what's that?
I said, and I hate him.
Well, let's be truthful. We've never liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives in that beautiful area of Destin and is going to I think he's buying a new boat and going to offer scenic, not fishing charters, but like scenic guide tour charters and stuff. And so he's pretty amazing. He's a good guy. He actually came by the store the other day on his way to his son's birthday, who's now in Orlando, and we talk every couple of days, and he's like, you and I talk whether we need to or not, but it was nice to actually be able to see him face to face and sit down and have just say some things.
He doesn't get to come into the store much anymore.
He doesn't come to Tallahassee much anymore.
Really?
I mean, it's May. He's probably been to Tallahassee 3 times since Christmas.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome for him.
Yeah.
How far away is Destin anyhow? It's not that far.
It's a very inconvenient 2.5 hours.
Gotcha.
I mean, when I say it's an inconvenient ass 2.5 hours, it's really an inconvenient ass 2.5 hours, you know, boring interstate drive and then go south until you hit the water. So,
Yeah.
if it was an hour and a half, man, I'd probably be over there a lot, but it's just, you know, it's a there and back will suck up the majority part of a day. And,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yep.
Fun stuff.
God, I love Mondays.
Yeah, well, I don't know where that comes from.
I'm sitting here thinking that it's a little after 9 and I left the house at 6:30 a.m. this morning. So, but hey, I am happy to report that I have one more baseball game.
And then it's done. Hey, and I'll be a couple weeks from now, I'll be gone for a couple weeks. So,
well, remember, I'm in Australia in sometime in June.
We should probably work that out because I'm not going to be available.
We should probably talk about that because
figure out what we got going on. Because
probably so.
There you go.
Probably so. Absolutely.
We'll have to.
Well, guys, thank y'all for your time tonight. We appreciate it, and y'all hit up JC's mentoring group with the Beyond the Bulbs. You know, Brett and Ryan and JC are all part of that. And I know it's got to be good. So,
yeah.
Cool. I'll be changing my blow engine. So, all right, guys. Thank y'all. Have a great night.